Getting older is kind of weird. I find that sometimes I don't sleep as well as I used to be able to. I fell asleep on the couch tonight with some documentary playing on the TV, and then woke up at about 5 a.m. I woke up out of a dream that I was having where my dad was still alive and he was getting a new house. And it was a beautiful house. It was amazing. And I was going to live there with him. I often have dreams about my dad where it seems like he never passed away. And I wake up with this sense that he's still alive and still around. And it's so weird because I didn't get to see him for so long before he died. And it's almost sort of like at the time when he died, I didn't really take a lot of time to grieve. So the grieving process kind of spread itself out across my life, I guess. I remember thinking when I was a little girl that, I didn't have a mom growing up, and I always wished I did. When I was a teenager, I used to beg, wish that my mom had never died when I was a little girl. When I was 3, she had breast cancer. She died when I was almost 4, I believe. I remember her really well. She was a really kind and wise woman. I loved her so much. I think she's what kind of drew me as a soul into our little family. But she was taken and moved on, and so I grew up with a single dad. And it wasn't always easy for him. He did the best he could. But there were so many things that were left unfinished and unsaid. And in a way, I feel like he has tried to contact me through the years to try to finish loose ends and finish unfinished business. But I got sidetracked of what I was really going to say. So, anyway, I fell asleep on the couch, and it was about 5. And then I came into my room to try to sleep some more. I put something on my phone to just sort of distract me and just sort of help me try to fall asleep. I looked at some videos on my phone for a little bit, and then I put it down and tried to go back to sleep. And watched some videos of this guy singing about his pain from the past and how he had found the light. But he never stopped talking about his past because he was grateful that he found the light. And they were kind of country songs. And he talked about his upbringing and his experiences. And I thought he was a really good singer. I liked his songs. I liked the fact that he was turning his painful experiences into art, trying to make something beautiful out of something ugly. And I thought that was really beautiful. And then I started just having these thoughts about, okay, so this is what I really wanted to talk about. It's just basically that, one of my main concerns with AI is that, there's all this, it can develop this amazing video. Oh, this was because going off of one of the musician's videos, he talked about how there were videos online that were circulating that were kind of violent and graphic in nature, and he was concerned about children seeing them, which is a valid concern, because he said that he witnessed some things when he was a kid, and he couldn't get the images out of his head. And for years, he said for a decade, he tried and tried and tried to get these images out of his head, and he eventually, because he fought it so much, he began to identify with these images, and he began to see himself as that, and he was afraid of that because he wanted so badly to be associated with kindness and genuine wholeheartedness, and for people to be glad to know him. And then I was laying there trying to get back to sleep. He eventually figured it out and, realized it. But I just think of the dangers of how I started to sort of let my thoughts drift. I was just kind of randomly creating aesthetic images, and I was like, where are these images coming from? Am I actually creating these images? Is this from me? And someone might say that's overthinking, but then I thought, well, sometimes overthinking is a signal. Like when a fire alarm is going off and you're just ignoring it or trying to chant affirmations to yourself to drown it out or something like that. And I thought, with all these AI video creation tools and things like that, what if, in the future, a brain chip is put into people's heads and it creates their thoughts? So you know what that is? That's mind control. And it's probably happened in the history of the universe somewhere. I mean, think about it. It's a big, big universe, right? And what if that happens here, now, soon? What if our minds are completely taken over and we think that these automatically created visuals are our own thoughts? And what if they're used to actually make us think and feel things that are not really us? And what if that's really actually already happening in some other way? Anyway, food for thought.